Awesome. Thanks so much, Nate. Hi, everyone, and welcome. My name is Megan. I work with Sawgrass, and today we're going to be doing traditional sublimation on some, I believe they're 90% polyester socks. Before we get started, please go in the comment section and let me know a little bit about yourself, where you're from, your name, and if you've attended one of our classes before, because it'll better help me to understand what I should be going over with you. No one gets confused and everybody is on the same page. So I'm going to let you guys go ahead into the comment section. And while we wait, just a reminder, everything that we have here, aside from the heat press, is available at Michael's. So the socks we're working with, they are ArtMinds socks. They are 98% polyester. Our printers, paper, inks, also all available at Michael's. And then our Creative Studio and our Sawgrass Print Manager, which we will be using in this course, are available online on our website, free to use. So that's where you'll be able to find everything that we're working with in this project. So let's see here. We have Maggie from Monk's Corners. Oh my goodness, Maggie, we're in Charleston. Well, we're Mount Pleasant, but hi, that's so awesome. You're in Monk's Corner. Let's see, we have Kathy from Missouri, Sue from Arizona. I already know a lot about Lori. Lori, yep. Oh, Maggie said she knew we were in Mount Pleasant. That's awesome. So thank you all so much for joining us. We have someone here, Bree from California. We are just going to take a second to make sure everybody gets in here. We have Lisa from Ohio who's taken all of the classes. Oh my goodness, Lisa, welcome back. Thank you. That's awesome. So, all right, we have, I think, a lot of people in here. We have Linda from Wilmington, North Carolina. That is where Jimmy Lamb is from. So if you are a Sawgrass fan or you follow us, Jimmy Lamb resides in the Wilmington area if you want to be his stalker. If you don't want to, that's fine too. Let's see. So Maggie wants to know, is Michael's handling blanks? So not traditional sublimation blanks, at least not yet. I'm not sure what the plan is there, but we go around and we find items in Michael's that can be used with sublimation. For example, like these socks that are already 98% polyester. So that can be used with our sublimation equipment. All right, Annette from Kansas, first slide class. Okay, so let's get started. What we're doing today is we're going to be using our Creative Studio. Now you can use Creative Studio as a free member or you can use it as a premium member. Premium just gets you a few extra things. I'm not going to dive into that because we'll be using this today as a free member. It's available at sawgrassink.com. So we are on the sawgrassink.com website and we're going to go to Creative Studio. Okay, now we're going to go into start creating, and this brings us into our design platform. Now today, because these socks are not technically in our Creative Studio, because we have hundreds of blank products you can design on in Creative Studio. These socks are not technically in Creative Studio because they are not from a blanks maker. Not a problem though, because we're just going to design on a blank sheet of paper. So I'll go to design canvases and I want to pull up an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper because that is what we will be working with today. So I have my 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. That's what fits into my SG500 that is available on the Michael's website. Now I want to make these socks, these Halloween trick or treat, smell my feet socks. So I'm going to start with the font. I'll go to text. And we have hundreds of free fonts available in Creative Studio. And I know this one starts with a B, so I'm just going to tab through. We have, as you can see, we have a lot. So I'm going to tab through a few more pages until I find the one that I'm looking for. There we go. Butcherman. That's what we want. So now that we have selected our font, this toolbar activates on the side of our screen. So if I just click in here, I can start typing. It's going to change the text on my screen. So trick, and I can go ahead and I can pull out the corners, make it a little bigger, a little smaller. If you want to track how small or large this is, In the measurements area, we have millimeters and inches. I know this needs to be just over an inch. Put this up here. And I can do one of two things now. I can go back to my text area and I can select the font again and it will generate and I can continue to do that. Or I can click the font I've already used and I can click duplicate. That way it duplicates already in the size that I'm kind of looking for. So I'm going to go ahead and click or, and then I'll duplicate again. And I'll say treat. So trick or treat. And I'm going to select all, kind of move this up a little bit, make it a little bit bigger. Click select all again. So I have this, I have the trick or treat. Now I'm going to, just at the bottom of my page, because I know I have the room, I'm going to make the other sock as well. Now, you don't have to do it like this. You can do one sock per page. I'm trying to save paper. I know a lot of you at home will also want to try to save paper. So this is a way you can do that. You can make both designs on one sheet because they are small enough designs. So I'll click another word and I'll just click duplicate and I'll just move it down. And I'll go smell, if I can type, my feet. Pretty quick, pretty simple to do. And I'll kind of move this up a little bit so it's a little bit more squished together. I'll make this a little bit larger, but not too much bigger. So now I have my words. Now it's time for me to add our artwork to it. I'm going to keep the font the same color. So now I want to add these little itty bits of art. So now I'm going to go to my elements section. Elements is where we house all of our free design elements because, you know, elements. So I'm going to go and I'm going to go to our Halloween section. And here's where we have all of our free Halloween design pieces. So I believe everything I want is on page 2. So I'm going to scroll around here. And this is the hat I want. So I'm going to go ahead and select it. And as you can see, it goes really big into my design space. I don't want that. So I'm just going to shrink it up. And I'll move it here. And I want it to sit kind of crooked on my T. So I'll select it. And then I will go to the rotate bar. And I'll just kind of rotate just a little bit. Just a little bit. And I'll let it sit on top of there. So I have trick or treat. And then obviously, if I'm going to say smell my feet, I'm going to want to put feet onto that part because we do have some really cute witches boots. So I'm going to go back into my side panel where I'm already in elements. And I'm going to scroll down and grab these really cute boots. I'm going to go ahead and again, just decrease the size of this so that it fits in here. I'm going to nest it just below feet. So trick or treat, smell my feet. This is all set and this is ready to go. Pretty quick, pretty easy to do. And once again, completely free for us to make. So I'm going to go to print and this is going to pull up our Sawgrass print manager. Here we have the option to do all of our customization for this print. So first off, we're going to select our printer. That's already selected. The tray we're printing from is selected and we have a US letter size. So now it comes down to mirror. We will be mirroring this item because what we're going to do is take our sock, take our sheet of paper and put our sheet of paper face down on our sock and press it that way. That means when we peel the paper off, the image will look back at us. So that is why when you're working with sublimation, 99% of the time, you're going to mirror your design. The few exceptions are when you're working with glass and sometimes ceramic, and when you're using our EasySubli vinyl. And we have a bunch of classes where we've worked with EasySubli vinyl. Those are all available on the Michael's YouTube channel and on our free Sawgrass Academy. So if you want to learn more about EasySubli vinyl, there are quite a few more steps, but it's not really that difficult. You can go there and you can learn more about how to use EasySubli vinyl. I don't want to dive into it now because I don't want to confuse anybody who may be new to sublimation. So for this project, because we are pressing face down, we are going to be mirroring our item. When it comes to product, this section tells the printer how much ink and what kind of color to lay down. So it's important that you select the right item. These are almost 100% a polyester sock. So we are choosing polyester. This tells the computer, lay down this amount of ink so that the proper amount transfers to our item. I'm using TruPix paper. And then the only other thing to really worry about is color mode. You have two options, photographic or vivid. Photographic, pretty much how it sounds. You want to use photographic when you're working with photographs because it helps to regulate skin tones. But this is a graphic, this is a design. We want to use vivid because it helps to really amplify those colors and let them bounce off each other. So we're using vivid for this. And now we'll go ahead and click print. And what's happening is the Sawgrass Print Manager is talking to the printer. It's telling it everything it needs to do. And it's kind of working as a translator between the computer and the printer. So now what will happen is it will pull up a secondary screen. And this is just to make sure you have all your settings right. And it gives you further options if you wanted to do even more with your prints. In our case, not something that we want to do or need to do. So the screen's going to pop up. I'm just going to click print. So now it's sending the information to our printer. And important to note, if you are new to sublimation, you're new to sublimation paper because you do need a specific paper when working with sublimation. You can't just use the paper you use for your normal inkjet printer. You need to use sublimation because it's sublimation paper because it's designed to work with sublimation inks and it's designed to hold up to the heat of a heat press. So make sure you're using sublimation paper and make sure when you put it into your printer, you are loading it down shiny side down. And here's the shiny side, here's the not so shiny side. There's not too much of a difference, but there's enough of a difference to notice that one is slightly darker than the other side. So shiny side down is how you want to load your sublimation paper into your Sawgrass printer. So this is printed out, it's ready to go. What I'm going to first do is get these socks prepared. So if you can see from this design, I hope I'm holding them up the right way. I'm trying to think about it being mirrored. Okay, Alex on the back end here says, I'm good to go. So these are our socks. As you can see, they're sublimated on the bottom of our socks. And that's not generally how socks are packaged to lay. Normally they're kind of creased down the middle. So what we're going to do is help our socks out a little bit so that we can press them without any issues. So what I've done is I've taken a foam kit, and foam kits you can buy at really any dealer or any craft store. It's just a roll of foam. And I took the foam kit and I cut it in the shape of a sock. And this helps to get that crease out of the sock when pressing, and it helps to elevate the paper a little bit over the heel of the sock that can tend to bunch. So I'm going to take our first sock and I'm going to stuff it with the foam kit. I'm just going to make sure everything fits the way it's supposed to here. All right, gonna make sure it's centered. All right. So here we go. We have now the foam in here. So what I'm going to do is take the sheet of paper and just cut it in half so it's a little bit easier for us to work with. So let me grab some scissors from the back wall. See, it's not just decorative, it's actually functional. I'm just going to cut this in half. Normally when it comes to sublimation, you don't have to cut your paper, but because we have two designs on one sheet, I'm choosing to. And I'm going to take some blowout paper. And now blowout paper it's newsprint paper. You can find it really at any hardware store. And this just keeps the platens of your heat press from getting ink on them. And this is a small heat press and a small project, and this is very big blowout paper. So what I'm going to do is just cut this paper in half so that we're not, using too much of it. So I'm going to put one on the bottom. I'm pull my tray out here. Going to go ahead and put this on here. And then what I'm going to do is just with heat tape, because heat tape holds up to the heat of a heat press, I'm going to, once I've centered my design, I'm going to just tape it down to my blowout paper just to keep it steady. And then I'll tape one little section to the sock so it doesn't shift at all. All right. Now I'm going to cover this with my other sheet of blowout paper. Put it back in there. And now I am pressing the sock at 311 degrees for, what am I doing? I have this not set to the right temperature. I had this preset to EasySubli. So this is a problem. I actually need to set this at 385 degrees for 45 seconds. And I normally do EasySubli for these. So in my mind, I was all set up to do EasySubli. But not a big deal, because I always come prepared with extra socks and an extra printout. So this is actually great because I'm going to show you what happens when you don't press your item for the proper amount of time, temperature, and pressure. So even though, yes, it is a mistake, a very good mistake for us to learn from. So while this heats up to the proper temperature, I'll show you what happens. So I told you I was pressing this on accident at 311 degrees for 15 seconds. Look what happens. It's not enough heat and it's not enough time. So if you're pressing items and you're starting to see, well, wait a second, it doesn't look right. How come it's faded? How come there's an issue? It could be because you're not pressing the item at the proper time, temperature, and pressure. I always recommend you look at the dealer where you purchased your products from to see what they recommend. If you're, say, purchasing a product from Michael's, like these socks, and they're not technically a sublimation dealer, just go to another sublimation dealer's website and see how they recommend pressing their socks. Because as long as it's polyester, it's going to be the same. Polyester socks from Michael's or from a different dealer will most likely 99.99% of the time press the same way. However, polyester socks and say a polyester coated ceramic mug, those won't press the same way because they're different materials. So always look up the proper time, temperature, and pressure. But as you see here, that's why this is so faded, because it wasn't pressed at the right time and temperature. Now that time and temperature is going up, you're going to see a big difference. So I'm going to keep this around so you can see the difference when it's pressed at the right time versus the wrong time. So let me take this out. And like I said, we come prepared. I already have another one printed out and ready to go. So I'm going to keep this. So let me grab my handy dandy backup and cut this. And it's also important to note too, when you when you print a design, it's going to print faded. And a lot of people will see that and go, there's something wrong with my printer. Oh my goodness, what's wrong? My prints are so faded. It's supposed to print faded. That is how sublimation printing works. It takes the proper time, temperature, and pressure to get those colors to pop. So when you print something out and it looks faded, don't panic, that's normal. So let me take this off. And we are almost at the right heat. So what I'm going to do is grab another sock. And get it all prepared for our next press. There we go. All set and ready to go. Just probably another minute or two before this is set to the heat that we want it to be. All right. And yep, Nate wants everyone to know that this class is being recorded and it will be available to watch on the Michael's YouTube channel in the next 24 hours. And here we go. Just so everyone knows, if you want to learn more about sublimation, you can go ahead and take our free classes in our Sawgrass Academy. That can be accessed at academy.sawgrassink.com, or you can just go to the Academy section of our website. It's on the top header bar. All those classes are free. It teaches you everything from how to do sublimation to how to use our specific products to how to build your business using sublimation. We also have some old Michael's classes on there as well. So a lot of information that you can get from our Sawgrass Academy. All right, let's try this again. And also, if you want to learn even more, we do live classes on Facebook every week, normally on Wednesdays. This week it's on Thursday. We're wrapping up our Sublimation Olympics. So tune in for that. But normally I do a lot of Facebook Lives, doing projects like the ones you see here. And what else? Oh, we have a podcast. It's called Ink Differently. We talk to sublimation and crafting business owners and influencers all about their businesses. You can find that podcast on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, SoundCloud, TuneIn, Stitcher, and sawgrassink.com. Again, that's called Ink Differently. And just so everyone knows, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask in the chat. I am monitoring the chat, so I would love to help you out with anything that you need, especially now that we do have a little bit ways to go before this is heated to how we want it to be. So, and this, like I said, these socks are now going to be pressed at 385 degrees for 45 seconds. Generally, when it comes to polyester fabric, we recommend 385 degrees for 45 seconds, whether it's a t-shirt or a sock, just being that it's fabric, and that's how we recommend pressing it. So this is just about done. What we're going to do is after we press it, take off that paper very quickly, because what happens with sublimation is these inks are activated by heat. So when I press these socks, the polymers in the polyester of these socks open up and the ink starts to pour into them. When I take that heat away, those polymers, they close, trapping the ink inside. That's why no matter how many times you wash or drop or scratch or wear, these items, that ink is not going to fade, because the design in that ink is trapped within the fibers of the product. But we want to make sure we take that design off quickly, because the longer it's on there, the more it starts to sublimate when there's heat attached to it, which could lead to a blurry image or shifting in the paper that could cause what we call ghosting. That's where you see an image and you see a faint image either on top of it or behind it, and we don't want that. So be sure when you take this off the heat press, you rip the paper off quickly. so it can start to cool down and have the design settle. So we're at 370. Again, we need 385. So we're just waiting a second. But does anyone have any questions? I'd love to answer any questions that you have, especially if you're new to sublimation. I know it sounds intimidating, but there is a lot that you can do with it. And it is very easy, especially when you have the proper time, temperature, and pressure that you're working with. So let's see, what else can we do while we wait? I can get my next pair of socks ready to go. I only have one foam kit cut to the sock design shape. So unfortunately, I can't stuff this one, but I can at least get everything ready. So I have my sock here ready to go. I have my blowout paper cut up, and that's part of sublimation. It's just being prepared so that when something comes off the heat press, the next thing is ready to go into the heat press. Because a lot of people we know are small business owners. So if things aren't getting pressed, they're not making money. So you have to make sure that your area is ready to go so you can continue to work. All right, we got about 11 degrees left to go. We're getting there. We are getting so close. And like I said before, everything is all set. And that's the thing, sometimes these heat presses, they take a little while to heat up. And it's important, know your heat press. Know if your heat press, sometimes what happens with heat presses is, especially if you've had them for a while, they don't heat up as well as they should. And that could cause you to have to adjust your press settings. So know your heat press and know what it's capable of. And I know there are ways to test the heat of the heat press to make sure that every part of your press is heating up the proper way. I believe some dealers have those items available where you can test the heat. All right, just a few, like another probably 2 minutes before that's heated up to where we want it to be. Again, we want 385 for 45 seconds. And I want to show you, I talked about the difference between when something is pressed and when something is printed, how it looks different. I'm going to take this design and show it to you on a sheet of paper and then show it to you on a pressed sock. Obviously, the words, you don't really see much of a difference because it's black. So it's still already a very deep color. But check out these shoes. The purple in these shoes compared to the purple that you see here on the sock. This purple is a much deeper color purple than this one here. This looks rather faint. That's because this one's been pressed in the proper time, temperature, and pressure. And now I'm going to take this sheet of paper. I'm going to put it aside, and then I'm going to hold up this sock that did not work well. As you can see, very faint. Did not transfer well because it's not using the proper time, temperature, and pressure. You can barely see it. You can barely see this little guy. Not using the proper time, temperature, and pressure. Nate makes a great point. If you're following along with me today, you can post your design and your creation online. Be sure to tag us. We're at Sawgrass Ink, Sawgrass INK on all social media platforms. You can hashtag Make It With Michaels and hashtag Michaels Classes. We are at 381. We are so close. We are so close. So when this is ready to press, we'll go ahead and press it, and then everything will move very quickly and very smoothly from there. And if anybody has any Creative Studio questions or general sublimation questions, very happy to answer that for you. Just gonna get that in there so that we are ready to go. All right, 382. Magic number is 385. But I can probably press it at 383 and be okay. So let's see here. We are almost done. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and press. Again, 385 degrees for 45 seconds. Let me just make sure that everything is centered the way it needs to be. And I'm just going to shift this to the side just a little bit so it's more centered. There we go. And we are pressing. Maggie says she's not as patient as me. Close seems close enough. Explain the temperature issue. So what happens is if it's not at the right temperature, then it has the possibility of looking faded, or especially with blacks, it can either look brown or green. Like if you cook it for too long, at too high of a heat, your blacks can turn out brown, or at too low, they can turn out looking green. So black's a very finicky color. So if you don't have the proper time, temperature, and pressure, you're going to run the risk of your design not coming out the way it's supposed to. Ooh, someone wants to know the name of the font that I used, and it's called Butcherman. Oops, so there we go. There is sock number one. It's a little bit hot. Always recommend too wearing heat gloves. I've been doing this for so long that I no longer have feelings in my fingers. So for me, it's not as important. But especially if you're new to it, please wear heat gloves like oven mitts. So this is done. I'm going to throw this out, and now I'm going to take my foam kit out of here. There we go. And there is my other sock. Nope, that's not mine. This is my other sock. Going to go ahead and stuff this sock with my foam kit. Maggie says, very cute. Thank you, Maggie. All right. So this is all set and ready to go. I'm going to once again lay it down here. Take the smell my feet and line it up. Okay, and then what we're going to do is take a different sheet of blowout paper, because it might be hard to tell, but there is a faint design that you can see on here because of it trapping some of that ink. And we don't want this design to heat up again and that ink to potentially transfer onto our new item. So I suggest, if you can, only using blowout paper once when it's like this. So we're going to get a fresh sheet of blowout paper just to be safe. And then we are going to press this at 385 degrees, once again, at 45 seconds. So here we go. This is our new sock. And then when this one comes out, there'll be a full set. So about 20 seconds left. And once this is done, this tutorial is basically going to be over. So I'll give you guys a chance to write in any questions you have before this ends, so that we can get those questions answered for you. There we go. So smell my feet. So we have trick or treat, smell my feet. I'm going to take this foam kit out of here so you can see the full kit together. So let me grab this. All right. All right, I think it's this way. Okay. Yep. So trick or treat, smell my feet. Here are our final designs for these socks. Again, completely free to make in our creative studio. These socks, along with the printers, paper, and ink, are all available at michaels.com or in Michaels stores. So again, we have a Facebook Live on Thursday at noon Eastern time, if you want to join us then. We generally do our Facebook Lives every Wednesday at 3 p.m. Eastern time. If you want to learn more about sublimation, Sawgrass products, see old Michaels classes, or start a business using sublimation, go to our Sawgrass Academy. That is completely free for you to use, academy.sawgrassink.com. If you want to learn more about sublimation, hear from people who have started their own businesses, or hear from crafting influencers, you can listen to our Ink Differently podcast that is available on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, SoundCloud, TuneIn, Stitcher, and sawgrassinc.com. Any other questions? Maggie says, thank you, Michaels, for doing this for us. So yes, thank you, Michaels, for having us. Again, this will be available on the Michaels YouTube channel in the next 24-ish hours. So you can watch it there. You can also make this project and tag us, Sawgrass INK, on any social media platform. You can also use the hashtag #MakeItWithMichaels and hashtag #MichaelsClasses, because we'd love to see what you are making. So I'll stick around for just a sec to see if there are any questions. But if there are not, then I will hand it back over to Nate. And thank you all for joining us, and hope that you learned something, and hopefully you come back and learn more. I believe we have a class in beginning of September, maybe the end of August. I'm not too sure. But we'll be making a sign, a wooden sign that we'll be painting white and then putting EasySubli vinyl on top of. It's a very colorful design. It might or might not have something to do with pumpkin spice lattes. I don't know. So we will have that class coming up. If you look on the Michaels website where you signed up for this class, you should be able to find it there. So looks like no questions. So Nate, I'll hand it back over to you. And thanks everyone so much for joining us.
All right. Yeah. Thank you everybody for being here. We appreciate it. And we'll go ahead and see you next time or at the next class. Bye, everyone.